Hey guys, I made a video a week ago about botlane wave management, and while I was pretty content with it being my first video and all, you guys gave me such great feedback and response that I couldn't really sit and not make an updated version. So here we are today. I do really think that this video is at least twice as good as the last one. I think we covered so much more ground than the last video, and that is hugely thanks to you guys. So yeah, without further ado, enjoy it. So this will be pretty much everything you need to know about wave management in botlane. But the things that you will learn in this video are as follows. We will know if you have priority or not. We will know when to slow push, when to freeze, when to shove, manage your wave both with and without priority, how to roam without losing resources, lane state of doom and how we can effectively avoid it, and we will finish it off with learning how to do the Rekkles. So let's begin with the first question. Can I get priority in my matchup? Now, for the more experienced players, you already probably know this, you can skip through this part if you want, but for the newer players, or maybe even if you're not new but just haven't thought about this question before, then I got help from someone on Reddit that helped me make a template for kind of knowing if you can get priority in your matchup or not. And the most of this information is kind of, does your AD carry have more range or more wave clear, and same for the support, and if you don't have wave clear on your champions, then can you threaten an all-in level 1 with like a Nautilus hook or an Amumu Q, for example? And yeah, I'm not gonna go too much in detail into this one, but it will be in the link, in the description rather, so you can download it there, and if you need it, so feel free to use that. So now, to the important question. Why to slow push and when? And kind of just want to start off by kind of making a statement that I think that we see the Cillian picture. I think time is the most important resource in League. I mean, with time, you can buy pretty much anything. You can buy gold, you can buy objectives, you can buy control of the game, and you can kind of control the tempo of the game if you have more time than the enemy. But that sounds kind of weird, right? How do you buy yourself time? And you do this by slow pushing. Because when you're slow pushing, it buys you time to make plays. When you're crashing a wave that is like containing like 2 waves and a cannon wave as well, so 3 waves in total, you already know what your opponent's next move is gonna be. He only has 1 play in his arsenal, unless he is really feeling himself. He has to farm that wave, and this is gonna allow you to, while he's doing that, you can make a decision. Do I wanna dive him on the wave that is big enough to do so, or do I just wanna base without really losing anything? Because once you crash a big wave like that, it's always gonna come back to you, slow pushing it. And you can also decide to use force objectives while that guy is busy farming the wave, like Drake or Herald, for example. And once again, the big important thing is that you buy yourself time when you slow push, and you're also kind of you know your opponent's next move when you do this, because there is only 1 play. There's only 1 play for him to do, and that's farm under his tower. So I kind of want to show you an example here that what you can do when you're buying yourself enough time. And here I'm playing Jhin. I will slow push a really big wave and I will get a kill on it eventually. But also the important thing in this video is that I spent so much time outside of lane, and it's even gonna result in me dying. But it's not gonna really matter, because from what I'm buying from this play is that this is also the thing, right? I told you that when I push in this wave, enemy Kai'Sa only has 1 play, and that is to farm that wave. And she will do this for quite some time. But then she realizes that while she's doing that, I am trying to basically destroy Kindred in her own jungle, and she feels like kind of forced to come and help out. So she does. She's gonna come eventually, and she's gonna run to her team and help them, and that is just perfect for me, right? While everything is happening, going on the map here, I'm not losing anything. The wave is always gonna come back to me when you crash it like this, and I know this. I have like 30, even 40 seconds before I have to be back on bot lane. So I'm just chilling here. I know I can fight this, even if I would play it really bad mechanically and I would die. It's still just really good in my book, right? Because every single second that Kai'Sa is in this play, she's losing farm. I'm still just fighting. I don't really care. I'm gonna die eventually. I'm gonna get caught by Kindred. My bad. I misplayed. That's fine though. Look at that bot wave that is coming. I'm gonna be able to pick up most of it, while Kai'Sa was busy fighting. She lost 2 waves just trying to, because she had to help her team, and it results in me having like a 10 CS lead just by like 5 minutes into the game. Sure, I lose a bit, but that's because I died. That's because my misplay. But if I didn't die, I would have gained so much. It's pretty much incredible. And this is basically what I mean when I say you buy yourself time to make plays when you're slow pushing like this. So let's move on to when to freeze and shove. And I know there's gonna be a lot of information in this video, so feel free to pause and kind of digest the information that was just said if you feel like you need it. So when do you want to freeze? Obviously, freezing while winning is probably the most common thing, because that's when it's a lot easier to keep it. If you're playing like a Draven lane, for example, and you already killed your opponent twice, it's really easy to keep that freeze, because even though the enemy will have more minions than you on his side, it's so hard for them to walk up to you because you just deal too much damage for them. There is also a play where you can freeze while you're losing, and this is pretty much just to gain time. You're pretty much forcing your opponent to either make a play on the other side of the map, like taking Herald, for example, or taking top tower, or they're forced to come come to that lane and forcibly shove it in, so you cannot really freeze it anymore, right? So freezing while losing is more of a temporary thing, while freezing while winning can be a permanent thing if you really want it to happen. More often than not, though, in early game, freezing is not really that viable. I think when mid game comes around, freezing while losing is actually a really good play. Let's say, for example, that your enemy has taken your bot tier 1 tower, and they are there's currently no Herald up as well, so they don't really know where to go. They can go top and try to take that tower, but then at the same time you're just kind of freezing bot lane, and that's when they're really forced to try to make a play happen, because they're just losing resources every single second, right? But yeah, in early game especially, like shoving before base is like 99%, almost 100% of the time it's gonna be the play. So we can just keep it easy and stick to that. So kind of want to show you an example as well. Here I'm playing Kai'Sa Blitzcrank against Soraka and Seri, I believe. And at this point, I see Soraka in mid. She is just helping out his mid laner. At the same time, I just came back from base. I have a pickaxe in my bag, and the enemy Seri, she only has a Doran's blade because she messed up her tempo, so she is forced to base. Pretty much, at least. So this is like the perfect scenario for me to just freeze this wave, right? Because if I push this wave in, she's not really gonna lose anything. But right now she's just stuck in lane, and she needs to call for help on her team. She needs her jungle or her support to come and kind of bail them out. And currently I'm just freezing, right? And this is not, once again, it's not gonna be a permanent freeze. Once she comes back from base, or once she brings her team, they're gonna be able to push this in. But this is just like a slight, I will show it again actually. This is just like a slight position where you can at least force them to either come with their team, and that's gonna make my team able to do plays on the other side of the map, and they're just gonna lose a couple of creeps, maybe just a wave, but that's just you losing a whole wave in early game is really huge, right? You lose so much experience, you lose so much gold, and it's just huge, right? So this was a really easy kind of decision for me to make, since I saw Soraka mid, and also enemy Seri still didn't base it. She was still sitting on Doran's blade, so she really wanted this wave to be pushed in. So I kind of want to talk a bit about as well, just speaking of the fact that 99% of the time shoving is gonna be the play that you make before you base, because when you shove, I would say it again, it's gonna slow push back to you, right? And I kind of wanna just show you here a video of me in practice tool kind of incorrectly shoving the wave, and how to kind of avoid this, because if you're trying to push in the wave and you see your next wave is looking like this, then of course right now I should probably make the decision that I should slow push this. And why is that? Because now when this happens, I slow pushed it, but it's not really crashing, right? And it's all suddenly ending up here on this line. This is like the worst state that the wave can be in pretty much any scenario. And this is the lane state of doom that I will talk a bit more about later in the video. But this is where you cannot really do anything with your wave. You can't really abuse your enemy, and they can really farm for free. But how to avoid this is just really, really simple, right? You have to know how much your champion can push, and you have to look at your next wave, where it is, because obviously the enemy's wave is in the same position, and you just have to make a decision after that. Can I push in my wave fast enough so it doesn't end up in a state like this? Because this happens so often that I'm pretty sure people are just not thinking about it, and this is just a horrible lane state. You cannot really abuse your matchup when you're playing the lane like this. So easy solution, right? Easier said than done. Just look at your next wave and make a decision. Can I push it in or not? But more often than not, I think people are not really paying attention to where the next wave is, and that's where they make the mistake to try to force in the wave before the next one comes, and they just end up in a lane state like this. So this is pretty much how to do it correctly, right? It's just a really short example. Here I spot. I know that I think we killed Soraka in this lane, and we know that we're just 2v1. So I'm just looking at the wave. I'm looking at the wave here. I know it's in base already, so it's really far away. That means I for sure have time to push in this wave and crash it, and that's what I'm gonna do. This is literally the only play, right? I push it in. I know for sure that the next wave is gonna not gonna have time to hit before this minion wave crashes, and I just get a free base from it. So perfect base, right? This is how you do it correctly. So, next step, once again, a lot of information, and feel free to just pause the video if you want to digest or maybe replay it, but I will bulldozer on, I will keep it up. So this is how you manage your wave with and without priority, kind of what to think about. And if you do have priority based on either the template that you got earlier in the video, or if you already know the answer to these kind of questions, you obviously want to have a jungle-centric plan when you're making a plan about your wave management. Let's say, for example, that I know that I can get priority in my lane, but my jungle is pathing away from me. And enemy jungle is also starting on top side, so he will end up on bot side in this case. Then I know for sure that I can't dive my opponent, and I cannot really evade as well, because we are 2v3, right? We're gonna be 2v3 on that side of the map at that time. So that probably means that I will just slow push my first 3 waves and make sure I either ward or I don't mess up my wave and put it in a wave state of doom, right? And after that, I'm probably just gonna have to base and pick up a longsword or a call, for example. Just make sure that I'm not dying, right? But then at least we have a game plan. If your jungle is gonna path to your side, then you can make a lot more plays with either diving or invading your enemy bot side camps and look to get an advantage for yourself. But having a plan just straight out in loading screen based on your knowledge, if you can get priority or not, is just so important. Obviously, just manage your waves accordingly to this plan that you have. And if you don't have priority, obviously it's a bit harder question to answer. But without priority, pretty much just wanna try to cut the wave as much as possible to kind of acquire a reverse state of doom, pretty much where your enemy is in the state where he cannot really abuse you. Once again, I will talk about this very soon in the video. You basically try to cut the wave to make it as small as possible so that your enemy cannot crash it in time before the next one arrives. What is the wave state of doom, right? And this is what I already discussed a bit earlier in the video, but it's basically just this wave state, right? Where for sure, if you have like a Nautilus in your game or a Leona on your team, they cannot really engage in this line, because if they go there, obviously they are way too close to the tower, they might get flung back by something or stunned, and they just get CC chained and they get attacked by the tower, right? It's really hard for your melee support to engage here, rather. And same goes for, let's say if you're playing like a zoning ADC, like here for example, if you're really good at spacing with your Aphelios, with your ranged gun, it's really hard. It's really easy to get an advantage in lane. But here it's really hard to try to deny your enemy farm, because once again, if you try to hit them too much, you're so close to the tower, and if you have a melee support, you're basically playing 1v2, and they can look to trade back on you while you're trying to trade on them. And it's just, once again, it's just so hard. It's so hard to play the lane like this. Once again, your support cannot engage. You cannot really deny the enemy the farm. They can farm safely under the tower. It's also hard to deny the thinning of the wave. They can just hit it whenever they want. And you're also very prone to ganks. Even if you have a ward here, for example, you can still get ganked by something like a Vi or a Wukong. It's just really hard to dodge ganks like this. And then you're kind of setting up your opponent to be able to make a freeze as well. So that's what we don't want to do. And how do we solve this is by, once again, what I talked about earlier in the video, is just looking at your next wave, and you have to make a decision. Can I push in my wave fast enough or not? So moving on, this is how to roam even as an AD carry without losing any resources. And this goes this goes pretty much the same theory as in the Jhin video, right? I will let it play while I'm talking a bit over it. But here, I have gotten myself a double kill on the Kai'Sa, I have pushed in my wave, and I know once again that I don't have to be bot lane before this bot wave crashes. Because I already know that by crashing this, it's gonna automatically slow push into me. And you already see it's starting to happen, right? So I know for sure right now that I can just go mid, I can help out my team, even when I'm playing AD carry, it doesn't matter, because even if I would go bot right now in this position, it's really hard for me to touch this bot wave. It's really hard, especially since my Alistar is also roaming mid right now. So it's better for me to just walk mid and look for something to happen, or if something happens, I'm just ready to be there to help them out, right? And once again, I'm not losing anything really, because I'm just waiting for this wave to be back at my tower, and that's when I will be bot. So we see here, nothing is really happening in mid at this time, but there are so many cases where it actually will be a really quick fight where I can pick up an assist or a kill even, and then I just move back to bot, I lose absolutely nothing, and we see it here, right? I just pick up the wave, safely under my tower, and I have helped out my mid by not losing anything. So I helped out my team, I didn't lose any resources for myself, and now I'm just back into the game, right? I can just decide to slow push this, I can decide to shove it, I can do whatever I want with it. So, finally, once again, so much information. But we are finally at the end, where I will teach you how the Rekkles is supposed to be done. And this is something that I just saw one day. I think it was like 4 or 5 months ago that Rekkles, he has posted a video, or I guess it was some sort of short video, where he just explains how to kind of get your lane state in a really safe and manageable state. And I will let the video play, but basically the goal of this is to make sure that your wave is in a position in lane where you are able to safely farm it. So pretty much like not really a lane state of doom, but you kind of make it yourself that you're able to safely farm the next wave that is coming up. And how do you do this? You see here, I'm really low on my Kai'Sa. I don't really want to shove this wave instantly, because if I use my Q on this wave, for example, the wave is gonna end up here. At least in the middle, it's gonna end up, and then I'm really prone to either getting ganked or jumped on by some champion in the enemy team. So what I do, and what Rekkles is doing, is I wait. Even when the cannon minion is low, I just wait until the last shot is coming out from the tower to make sure that the wave is gonna stay in my side of the lane for as long as possible. Because obviously, enemy minions are currently walking into lane, and they are gonna be first here. They're gonna come closer to my side of the lane than it would be if I was just shoving this wave instantly, right? So this is what I'm doing. I'm waiting for the second tower shot to fall, even though I missed that creep. This next wave that is coming up, you see it here. It's just so much more in a favorable position for me, right? And then after this, I just decide to shove it. I just decide to, I'm just shoving, I just want to base, right? Because there is a potential threat that they could be here, sitting and waiting for me. At this stage, they weren't, but in another case, it could really save your life. And once again, I will just repeat it. Actually, I just got a kill after that on the customer as well. That guy was kind of running it, I'm not gonna lie. But once again, you just kind of want to... This can be done when your wave is already coming here and the enemy wave is still getting hit by the tower, right? So what you do is, once again, you just wait until the last second possible for you to hit it. Even if the tower shot is in the... Like, as soon as the tower shot is in the air, it's gonna have a slight delay for the next one to come, right? And a lot of details, but once again, you just wait for that. Even here, I know that I can just hit this creep after the first tower shot is done, but then the wave will be in a slightly worse position for me. So I just wait for the second tower shot to come out. Perfect. Now the wave is in a really good state for me. So this is something you can do when either you just want the next wave to be really safe and you can just shove it and base, or if you wanna try to build a slow push for yourself, right? Because this wave is so much harder to contest for the enemy than if it was in the middle stage, right? So this is something to think about when either you wanna slow push your wave or just base and shove, or even if you wanna dive and create like a really big slow push, because once again, time is everything in League, and if you can buy yourself time by creating these slow pushes, you will be in control of the game. So that was it. I know, once again, a lot of talking. I did this in one take as well. I'm pretty proud of myself, I'm not gonna lie. So thank you so much for watching. I'm MTest. I do coaching for bot laners, supports, but also, and pretty much most importantly, I do preparation for like solo queue, mental, and this goes for all roles. So I will link my coaching Discord in the description, along with the priority template that I mentioned to you guys earlier. And once again, just thanks so much for giving me feedback during this last couple of days, and I really hope I made this justice. I will see you guys again very, very soon. Do not forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and yeah, have a really good day. Peace out.